This government is supposed to withdraw in August, right?
The transition ends in August 20. That is when the mandate of this government is concluded. We have a lot of tasks to do before that. And we are at the last leg of a roadmap that we charted for ourselves in September to make sure that Somalia is safe and secure. Somalia is liberated from Al-Shabaab, stabilized with a new constitution and with a new government and with a new political dispensation in August 20, 2012.
Do you think that's possible?
Of course. When we charted this roadmap, which was mainly composed of four main benchmarks: security, political outreach and reconciliation, good governance, and constitution building. And we established and met all these deadlines on time, and hopefully the remaining tasks will also be completed on time.
So what would you like to see happen on August 20th?
August 20, we expect Somalia peaceful, stable, Somalia at peace with itself, with its neighbors, Somalia with a new government, with a new parliament, more efficient, smaller parliament, Somalia with a new constitution, so that the sovereignty of the Somali individual, the freedom of the Somali individual, the rights of the Somali individuals, including women's rights, minority rights, should be protected. So a better Somalia, a more peaceful Somalia, and a more prosperous Somalia in August 2012.
Does this mean that you will have general elections in August?
No, because it's very difficult to have general elections because of the situation of the country. This country went through a difficult time, 20 years of instability, 20 years of lawlessness, 20 years of chaos, 20 years of anarchy. Now we are stabilizing, we are liberating, but it will take a while to take census, to be able to vote in a general election whereby people can cast their vote individually. But in the meantime, the new parliament will be selected by the traditional leaders who are the moral authority of the country, and they will select those individuals according to their clan distribution. And then these 225 MPs or members of parliament will then elect the speaker and also the president, who will then in turn appoint a prime minister who will form a government.
So the new parliament will be based on the clan system?
Yes, of course, because this is the only formula we can use now. But it will be the last time that Somalia will use a clan-based formula for its leadership and for its parliament. So we agreed in Garowe, in Puntland, this year, that this will be the last time we're going to use this 4.5 formula. But after that, it will be based on constituency, so that members of MB will be selected from their own constituency, from their own regions, like any other country in the world, and according to the population size. And this will be a more fair, more representative, more encompassing sort of governance later on. But in the meantime, we have to do the best that we can do.
But the best that you can do, don't you think there is a risk that you build conflicts into the system?
No, we don't, because this is an agreed upon formula where all Somalis agreed. Okay, this is not that something we invent. It's not something that we are getting taken out of our pocket. It's an agreed upon formula where everybody is satisfied. So according to this formula, we have composed of four main clans and one minor clan. That's why it's called 4.5, and therefore the representation will be based solely on clan at this time. But as I said, the last time we're going to use a clan representation.
How will you be able to create conditions for general elections in Somalia?
First of all, you need to liberate the country from all vestiges of civil war, from all elements of instability, for all actors of instability, like Al-Shabaab, like Al-Qaeda in Somalia. You liberate the country, then you stabilize, you reconcile communities, you build administrations, and once you have this stable environment conducive to political activity, then you will take a census so that you count people, so to make sure that there will be a fair representation based on regions, districts, and constituencies. And after that, you will allow people to vote.
When could this happen?
Hopefully, the next political dispensation after August. That will be in 4 years' time.
4 years from now?
Yes.
Okay. And about the issue of liberation of Somalia, who is going to liberate Somalia?
So the Somalis, the security and the safety and the well-being of the Somalis. No, we have our African brothers who are helping us now, but in the long term, in the short term, yes, we will depend on other our AMISOM brothers, African mission in Somalia. But after that, in the long term and the medium term, the safety and the security of Somalia will be only the responsibility of Somalis themselves. Only Somalis can save their country from themselves, from other enemies, and also from all sorts of actors of instability.
From the outside, to a lot of people on the outside, Somalia still looks like a mess. And how would you be able to turn that around in such a short time?
We already did. We improved the security situation of the country. We are reconciling communities. We're reaching out politically to other parties and other regions of Somalia. We are building the economy. We are establishing institutions based on good governance mechanisms, fighting corruption and malfeasance, so that we can have an institutional framework that guides the country politically, socially, and economically. And after that, hopefully after that, we will mobilize international resources, we will mobilize domestic resources so that we'll be able to create jobs for youth, to rebuild the basic infrastructure of the country, to revive the economy, and hopefully later on to make sure that the Somalis will be better off economically, socially, politically, and there will be a change in their material and moral well-being.
What is the first step you need to take to build such a society?
So, as they said, in real estate, what do they say? It's all about location, location, location. In state building, it's all about number one, security, security, security. And after that, everything will come fall into place.
Hopefully.
Yes.
There is also the issue of Somalia versus the different parts in the country. If you have general elections, for instance, will that include all regions, including Somaliland?
Yes, of course. We believe in one Somalia. The territorial integrity and the sovereignty of Somalia is sacrosanct. Okay? We will try to convince our Somaliland brothers that they will be better off with us than being separate from us.
Do you have a problem with them being separate?
No, we have to convince them that they will be better off being with us than being separate from us. We cannot bring them by force. We have to convince them. We have to cajole them. We have to show that the world is becoming a global village. Europe is coming together. Okay? So why separate Somalia? And why you divide the country into clan-based fiefdoms? It doesn't help. We're going to have economies of scale. You have, better off economically, politically, and socially by being part of Somalia than being separate from us. We will convince them, and I'm sure they will join us later.
They will change
peacefully.
their minds.
Peacefully. Yeah.
So, if you look, say, 10 years into the future, what will Somalia look like?
Somalis are people with entrepreneurial skills. They are very innovative. They're very skillful. Okay? And they did marvelous in other countries where they have institutions that support them. Okay? Wherever they go, Somalis are better off doing things individually when they get the mechanism, when they get the security, when they get the institutions that help them. Okay? So these entrepreneurial skills will help us, Somalis, and I'm sure 10 years from now, Somalia will be peaceful, Somalia will be stable, Somalia will be prosperous.
And the groups that are now threatening the stability of the country, where will they disappear?
Hopefully to the thin air, and they already did. The Al-Shabaab now is almost a spent force. We defeated them in the south, in south-central Somalia, in the southwest, in Baybakol, in Gado, in the Jubbas, central Somalia, and sooner or later, and hopefully soon rather than later, they will be totally spent for us, and because they lost the hearts and the minds of the Somali people. Somalis are yearning for peace. Somalis are yearning for stability.
But still, you have a lot of foreign money, foreign weapons coming into the country.
Yeah, of course, of course. That's why we need to build the security institutions of Somalia, okay? So that the security institutions of Somalia, robust Somali National Police Force, robust Somali National Military Force, robust Somali justice institutions. Okay? So once you have this institutional framework and this security sector institutions built and make them robust, then we will be able to deny others to take stronghold in Somalia and to wreak havoc in the lives of the Somali people. So that's why we have to rebuild our justice and security sector institutions as quickly as possible.
And it will only take a few years.
Of course, you know, to destroy, it doesn't take much. To rebuild, it takes time. But we have to be patient, we have to persevere, and hopefully we will succeed.
Thank you very much.